Alrighty, welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks. No guests today, no top tens because we are ready for the NFL season. It is finally that time of the year. I'm so excited. It's so nice seeing like everywhere on social media and stuff, and just like it's everything's already football, everything, and I'm very, very happy about that. Fall weather is in the air over here in Pennsylvania in the mornings. It's a little chilly and I like it. Uh, but yeah, how are you doing, Tim?
Not too bad. Getting ready for a fun season. Happy times are upon us.
Absolutely.
I'm the start of football season is gonna dramatically affect my sleep schedule. We're
That's true.
already looking at probably two back-to-back overnights. I'm already like locked in Eagles, of course. I'll be up all
Hmm.
night, probably 5 a.m. Thursday game. I don't know if I'm pulling the 5 a.m. on that one, maybe to get myself on the schedule, and it's the first one, but I will definitely be watching at least the first half. But
Gotcha.
yeah, so RIP to my sleep schedule. Didn't take too long. We already got the Eagles on a prime time, and we got back-to-back night games. So to kick off the season too. So my full on addiction and for football is in withdrawal right now. So I am ready. I probably will be putting some late nights in. It's what you got to do though.
Yeah, gotta put in the
Put the grind
hours.
down.
Put in the
Of
hours.
course.
All right, but so this is our season preview episode. To break down, we're gonna go through each division and rank our respective teams and how we think everyone's gonna finish. And then we'll get a good idea of like who's making playoffs and who's gonna have the number one overall draft pick. Um, and then from there we pick, who's going to win the Super Bowl, some of the awards for MVP, Coach of the Year, defensive players, rookies, all that fun stuff. And then by the end of it, we'll do power rankings, our top 10 for that, and then we will do week one predictions. And it's gonna be fun. It's the start of our weekly, episodes again. Best time of the year, football, baby. So
Right about that.
without further ado, we got to start with, of course, the NFC East. Tim, I'll let you take the floor. How is this division going to shake up?
Well, I mean, I'm call me a homer or whatever. I don't care. We're getting right into it. I have big hopes, big expectations for the Eagles this year.
Hmm.
My biggest gripe from last season was the coordinators. They both got fired in the middle of the season, so that tells you everything you need to know about that. Fangio comes in. I mean, Fangio is going to be exactly what you expect. One of those guys, great coordinators, bad head coach. I think he's plugged in. I think that one's a lock. There's so much talent on this defense now. Like the only thing you worry about now is this is Howie's time. And all those great draft picks, every single night we're like, wow, Howie crushed it. Howie crushed it again. Oh, I wanted this guy in the second round, or I wanted this guy in the first round. Somehow Howie got him in the second round. Like every player I wanted the Eagles to draft, they ended up drafting. So now this is a big year. We're going to need to see some of these guys that we gave Howie an A plus step up. Guys, especially on defense. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter,
Yep.
N'Kobe Dean,
Hmm.
um, Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. I know those guys are a little younger, but I mean, even guys like I liked Ringo as a fifth round pick. I still kind of like him. I'm excited to see him in the limited role he plays. But
I don't. He might be starting.
yeah, I listen. I like Ringo. I know he has his faults, and I know people don't know where he's going to play. When I've watched him, he looked good.
He's quick too.
But I mean, I think Jalen Carter's a stud. Put very
Oh yeah.
confident about that one.
Oh
Jordan
yeah.
Davis is he going to break the ceiling? And then N'Kobe Dean, is he going to stay healthy?
Yeah. There's definitely question marks, and I think for people to, I think a lot of people who aren't from Philly area obviously aren't as high on the Eagles as a lot of us are, but I think there are question marks for sure. A lot of new pieces on defense. It's going to be question marks about O line. Is the loss of Jason Kelsey going to be more significant than we think? Is Jalen going to be playing super well now that he's healthy? Now that he's got a new system, is there going to be growing pains with a new offensive coordinator? There's already talks about when if the Eagles have a really slow start, is Nick Sirianni going to get fired? Like, it's crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, they were saying that in July, which
And
that's just Philadelphia media.
now there's all this commotion about, oh, Jalen and Nick Sirianni don't like each other. I was like, who? Why are we fabricating lies? Like I don't.
Listen, week three, AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts are going to hate each other. Remember, this is
Yeah,
a rinse
they're
and
best
repeat kind of
friends.
situation.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jalen Hurts is like the
sticky.
godfather for AJ Brown's daughter. Or I don't think they're gonna hate each other. It's they're competitive. Like let's
Yeah.
not overblow things.
I mean, Sirianni's definitely on the hot seat. Like, I mean,
I
last year was a
agree.
big collapse.
I agree. I think
But you
if
know
they,
what? When you
I mean,
fire both your coordinators last season, that you're putting yourself on the hot seat. You know, these are two guys you brought in. You had an epic collapse. You got rid of both of them by basically saying like, "Hey, this was our problem," and we moved on. If these are your second round of coordinators, you picked yourself and it doesn't work. Now the attention is going to switch quickly.
yeah, I think if they miss the playoffs somehow, he's fired for sure. There's too much talent on his team
Yeah.
to do that. But I think if even if they lose a wild card, I think he could be because it depends on who like if the Browns struggle this year, Kevin Stefanski is on the hot seat. He could get fired. And if the Eagles are gonna fire, Sirianni, I wouldn't mind them hiring Stefanski if he gets canned too. But
I mean,
let's
yeah,
not get to
I
that.
don't. Yeah, we're not firing Nick
He's
Sirianni
not
before the
gonna get
season
fired.
started.
Yeah,
I mean, my thing is like sticking on the defense. I think the secondary is kind of a strength almost. This
I
is
think
the
so.
deepest secondary I think we've had in quite some time. I mean,
Leo Shepard, Sean Brown.
um, yeah, I mean, Slay's still there. I mean, DeJean and Mitchell are the two guys you wanted in the draft. You got both of them.
Crazy.
Blankenship's there as long as he can stay healthy. No, what's his face? Maddox is back again if he can stay healthy. I liked what
Bradbury.
I saw from Ringo. Touched on that. Bradbury is still on the team as a fourth cornerback. As a fourth cornerback,
A
Bradbury's
backup
pretty good.
safety. Yeah, not
Yeah,
bad.
as a
Not bad.
fourth corner, Gardner Johnson. Forgot about him. He's going to bring a little tense. I think that's the strength. I think the weakness, and it's almost weird because it was so strong all the other years. I'm a little worried about the pass rush
I am too.
from the edge.
Our D line's
Brandon
not.
Graham,
We
it
don't have a
might
lot of
show a little
depth.
step behind.
We don't have a ton of proven
No,
depth. So, um, there, like I said, a lot of question marks as far as, I mean, Jacoby Dean. This is a make or break year for him. I don't know if he's going to start because Devin White is one of the starters, but he's not playing this Friday. And I have high hopes for Devin White. I think fresh start.
I love that. Yeah,
He's looked super quick in training camp, and he looks like he's reading the plays well. He's reacting. I'm excited for him to get on the field. And then I think N'Kobe Dean has got to prove a lot. Jordan Davis has got to prove a lot. Um, but Nolan Smith too. I think this is a year for him to
oh
really
yeah, no,
stand out. You got Huff is going to be a full-time starter. We have to see how he's going to do. So yes, there's a lot of players that need to prove themselves, but they are all so talented that I think it'll work out. And I mean, I also have the Eagles number one in this division. Um, I have them going 12-5, 4-2 in the division.
it's
Um,
respectful. I think that's so. Hold on, let me throw 2 points at you first. So we were touching on the defense before we go on to the offense.
okay.
One, the Devin White thing is a curious case because I agree with you. I think I'm excited for him.
Yes.
I've never seen a superstar because Devin White was a superstar
Hmm.
at 26 years old be written off as like he's just some slouch. Like he's not old. He is 26 years old, and this guy was a superstar. So,
Yeah.
I mean, even if he gives you 80% of what he was at his peak of his career, which was what, 2 years ago, since the
Hmm.
guy's 26, you have a steal.
He was a
The
difference
other
maker in the
part,
Super Bowl.
oh God, yeah, the guy's an absolute beast.
Yeah.
The other point being, since we were talking about this with Howie and hot seats, if say they get into the playoffs, say they get bounced in the wild card, but
Mm.
say Dean is hurt, doesn't play, Jordan Davis gets no better, Nolan Smith is not an impact player at all. DeJean, Mitchell both have ho hum seasons, and Jurgens will throw in there is also hurt. Like all those Howie picks just completely fall apart because this is a big Howie year. And I would argue, coaches, everyone likes to fire coaches, but I would argue that the pressure is more on Howie this year than it is on Nick. Because look at the guys you're
Ah,
replacing. You're coming to the point now. Hear me out. You're coming to the point where you're not replacing all those other guys. Reddick moved on, and Graham is retiring next year. So you need Nolan Smith to step up. Huff obviously is more proven, so I don't think you spent a lot of money, so you're okay there. Jurgens was hired as Kelsey's replacement. These guys in the secondary, these are James Slay's and Bradbury eventually when he moves on replacements. Part of the reason you kind of let Gardner Johnson go was, because you had Blankenship, because you had young guys. Same thing on the inside. Fletcher Cox was supposed to be replaced by Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. Like, if these guys stink, then you have not replaced any of the stalwarts that made that Howie's run so successful.
I I hear you, but I think the NFL is such a reaction-based league that to fire Howie after two Super Bowl appearances in what,
Well,
six
they won't
years?
fire Howie. They won't fire him. That's off the table because what's his face? Lori loves him way too much.
Well, I
But
don't
will the criticism be on him more like a Doug Peterson Howie situation? Obviously, Howie won that one, and things have been rosy since then. But it came down to who's more to blame here, Doug or Howie?
well, Doug's coaching the Jaguars, but
Well, yeah, I know. Back when he was here, before he got fired,
oh,
remember?
um, I it in your scenario, it would be Howie, right? Because you're telling me that they make the playoffs. Obviously, they played well enough to do it, um, but that the draft picks aren't panning out, especially the recent draft picks. Um, so that is if it's performance based, yeah, Howie would be his seat would get a little warm, um, but realistically, I don't see either of them getting, on the hot seat this year. I think the Eagles are going to be, I mean, we said last year they would be really good, but it's a different team, different mindset. I don't think you could go through what they go through again. It was historically crazy what they had to
Yeah.
do. I've never seen a team just fall apart like that. So everyone seems more bought in. I mean, even AJ Brown said he upped his off-season workouts. Like, what? How much more does he like? Bigger does he need to get? Like, he's
Well,
obviously
I mean, getting a
motivated.
big contract obviously
Jalen
helps, right?
Jalen Jalen looks happier in a weird way. Like, I feel like he's smiling more during the interviews and the practices and stuff. Maybe he's letting more of his personality out, but I I
I
I,
just
I think they'll be fine. And I think they'll. I mean, based on you'll see my later predictions, I think they'll do really well.
Oh,
But
yeah, don't get me wrong. I also think they're going to do very well. I don't mean to be a pessimist, but everyone has got Nick Sirianni pretty much fired already.
yeah.
But I think this is more pressure on Howie. Like, read me this. Say Jordan Davis is a bust and stinks.
Hmm.
You could make an argument, take away Justin Jefferson. You could make an argument a move like Jordan Davis is a bigger blunder than drafting a guy like Jalen Reagor. You traded up to get Jordan Davis, and he was what, a 13th overall pick? Jalen Reagor was 21. You're in the back half of the draft. I get it. Justin Jefferson
All
got
over
picked
just
after him. That's what
Jefferson. Yeah, I
sucked.
don't know.
But Jordan Davis, you traded up in the first round to get,
Hmm.
and you drafted him, what, 10 spots higher than just Jalen Reagor went?
Yeah.
Like, these are more of my things is, again, Nolan Smith's a guy you traded up into the first round, if I remember correctly, to get. Like, these are guys that you made aggressive moves to get. And if they don't pan out, I mean, yeah, we all love the moves at the time, but these draft picks, like, they can be great when they make some. Everyone's really happy. I think the thing that killed Rager was one, Justin Jefferson, but two, no one was really that sold by Jalen Rager. Like, we love
Yeah.
Jordan Davis, we love
Yeah.
Nolan Smith, we loved all these picks, but
I mean, I was high on
3 years
Rager
from
because I
now,
heard a lot of good things about him, but yeah, he didn't pan out. But
3 years from now, if he stinks, he stinks. Doesn't matter where he was drafted, doesn't matter what your pre-draft ranking
yeah,
was,
I
nothing matters.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I'm not 100% sure about this. I thought I heard this correctly, but so correct me if you know, but I think that Vic Fangio's defensive scheme is more similar to what Georgia ran than what we ran last year because it's like I think we have three down linemen now.
I think it's
Um,
more of a 3-4, yeah. Well,
yeah,
that's where Nolan Smith would be more of a 3-4. Jordan Davis obviously built for nose tackle, and then
right.
Jalen Carter's more of a
So I'm
three
thinking that they
technique.
will play better in this system. So if Jordan Davis doesn't look better, um, then yes, I'll start to be concerned because there was times that he was kind of just a body last year.
Yeah,
So
no, yeah.
I'd like to see some progress from him, but him and Carter, I mean, they seem locked in. That'd be if those two can form like this dynamic duo of lethal, pass rushers and defensive linemen, then we're
Hey,
gonna
I
be
think
set for
that's
some years. So
I'll give
there are a lot of
Sirianni
questions, but
I'll give
again,
Sirianni credit this. Going off your point, like, yeah, I think Fangio was a great pick. One, I think he's a good DC. Two, I think he does fit the scheme of all these guys you've been drafting from
oh,
Georgia.
it's his scheme. It's like this is
Exactly.
his
So
defense.
I think
He
that's a
made
great
it.
hire by Sirianni. I love it. Like, to get a guy like that in with the pedigree. Moving on to the offside of the offensive side of the ball, I
Yeah.
also think same way. I think Kellen Moore was a good hire. I don't know. I know he doesn't have a like ton of success, but his quarterbacks put up big numbers. Herbert did, Dak did. Sure, they don't win many games, but what are you going to do?
I, yeah,
But
I
I
think
think
this
he's
is. Go ahead.
I think he's setting up a system for Kellen Moore that he wants to run. The Saquon Barkley trade or signing, I think, tells you everything. You
Oh
bring
yeah,
in a new offensive coordinator who was a coordinator in
he asked
Saquon's
for Saquon.
division. Oh yeah, this is you kidding me? This was not a Howie move. This was not a
No,
Nick move. They never
no.
invested in running back. This was bring in the new OC. I've coached with this guy in my division for
What do you want?
years. I want him so badly that I don't care if you cost us a couple draft picks, just get him. And we all know he wants to be here. And dude, I think like Saquon's going to be the game changer. I know Kelsey's going to be tough to replace, but again, this goes back to what we said with Howie. Like Cam Jurgens was the replacement. There should not be a drop off because Cam Jurgens. I mean, yeah, there will be because Jason Cuss the Hall of Famer,
He'll
but
take some growing pains,
you
but
still have top five in their position, arguably with Lane, Dickerson,
Mailata.
Mailata is probably a top 10 guy. Who's playing right guard? I don't remember off the top of my head.
Um, Becton.
Becton. Oh, yeah, I don't know about Becton.
He's like training camp. They've been raving about him. Stoutland has been super impressed apparently, so he's
We'll see.
starting.
Well, I mean, he's a coin flip because the guy's so big, but he always gets
Yeah, but injury,
hurt.
yeah,
He's so out of
but
shape, man.
talent,
He makes Jordan Davis look like he's run a
but
marathon
the
runner.
talent's there, and Stoutland will coach him up. But
Hey man, but yeah,
um,
if you get him doing what he can, I mean, I like Jurgens. I thought Jurgens plays well. He gets hurt. That's the only problem. And considering what you had with Kelsey and being so spoiled where Kelsey never got hurt, that'll be the biggest drop off.
yeah, I mean we could have a whole episode on the Eagles and our preview for them. But my final points are: I agree with you with Kellen Moore. I think for him, think about it this way: he was an offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. Then he was an offensive coordinator for the Chargers. What's the next step for him? He wants to be a head coach. So
Well,
this is
yeah,
his audition. So he's going to pull out all the stops to make this offense as good as it can be so he can also look good. Obviously, he wants to win for the team, I would hope, but I think this is his showcase. Like this is where he's going to shine if he wants to advance beyond a coordinator position. And then, like you said with Saquon, think about it this way. Saquon was the best player on the Giants the last 5 years. So everyone knew who was getting the ball. He was the only
yeah,
player they needed to really focus on. And now you put him behind an actually good line, and he is not the guy who you got to worry about Jalen Hurts. You got to worry about AJ Brown. You got to worry about Devontae Smith. You got to worry about Dallas Goedert even a little bit. Saquon's like the third or fourth guy you're considering when you're trying to go through who's getting the ball. So the offense is going to carry this team I think for the first couple games, and then the defense needs to get adjusted. There's so many new players. They're all going to get settled in and get used to the system. And I think by the end of the season we'll be looking good. So
yeah. I
um,
mean, I'm very optimistic about the season. I'm feeling very good. I know we had some criticisms, but I
yeah.
feel very good about. I'm very confident how the Eagles are going to look this year.
So I'll skip ahead of you then. So I got Eagles, like I said, 12-5, 4-2 in the division. I think I had them lose to Dallas at Dallas earlier in the season, and then a game against the Commanders. Um, and then Cowboys I had finishing 10-7, 5-1 in the division. They only lost to the Eagles. I don't know how I had that happen. Um,
Hmm.
Commanders 6-11, and the Giants I think are going to be abysmal. I think that they're going to finish 4-13. That's that's giving them a lot of credit because 4 wins is generous.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I probably would. Yeah, Burns, Lawrence, maybe. No, yeah, no, they stink. Yeah,
No, no.
and by him. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any argument there on the division wise. I do have the Eagles winning the division. I have the Cowboys making the wild card.
As do I.
Um, I mean, I still think they're a shit show waiting to happen. There's too much talent on there to keep them out of the playoffs, but
That's where I was
I,
at. I was like, they can't. They'll find a way to make it. But yeah, I mean, if teams find a way to somehow isolate CeeDee Lamb, Zeke is like 95 years old. He's not doing anything to a defense. I don't know what their other options are. So it's going to be interesting. But they'll be
yeah.
competitive. They'll be the
I
Cowboys.
mean, their defense is still solid. You got Parsons. You're going to get Diggs back
They
with
got a new
Bland.
defensive coordinator. So, but
Yeah, so
they lost
I think
Bland for the year. So,
yeah.
or half the year, I forget. But
Oh yeah, I forgot he's hurt, but whatever. They got Diggs back. Yeah, so I also have the Cowboys, or I'm sorry, the Eagles winning the division. Moving on to the North, I
okay.
have the Lions. I don't think anyone's surprised by that.
Yep.
I'm expecting them to kind of pick it up where they were offensively.
Okay.
They're such a young team, like guys like Laporta, Gibbs,
Hmm.
Hutchinson. I expect all three of them to make another step up. The offensive line is still incredible.
Yeah.
Um, defensively, Dan Campbell's there. I'm in on the Lions. I think they win their division pretty handily.
Hmm.
My biggest disappointment is actually in NFC North since we're on the division. I don't know, man. I don't see all the hype into the Packers.
Neither
Like
do I.
I get it, Jordan loves the dude and whatever, but look at the quarterbacks when they make their next jump. Look at Jalen when Angie Brown got there. Look at Tua when Tyreek got there. Look at
Uh,
Josh Allen when Stephon Diggs got there. Who on the Packers makes you think that they're a playmaker? Like Jacobs is not a guy that I really
that
think is much
ooh,
different than Aaron
Dobbs.
Jones.
Ooh.
You got Dobbs, you got Watson, you got Wicks, you got Musgrave. These are all okay guys. I don't
Yeah.
see any playmakers on this team. Coordinators will have a strategy to throw off Love this year. They know what he is. The defense doesn't really have enough to make me think they can offset the offense, stuttering or starting out slow. I just think you're putting too much pressure on Jordan Love, and I don't know if I have the blind confidence like everyone else does to think this guy is just going to succeed out of the gate, bring his team to the playoffs with a very group of weapons around him.
Hmm.
So I don't have them in the playoffs. I'd probably say like third place, second or third coin toss. Really, I'm with the Bears. I think they're maybe a year too early. I think they got some pieces, but I'd like to see it first. And then the who is it? The Vikings? I'm not expecting much.
Yeah, I got the Lions finishing 11-6. Um, Packers, I do have taking the last wild card spot at 10-7. I don't think they're going to win the division or, be, 12, 13 wins like some people are predicting. But I think they'll sneak in. And then the Bears, I agree. I think Caleb Williams will have a lot of really good games and a lot of really bad games. But I think they kind of even out. I have them going 8-9. And then the Vikings, I mean, you have Sam Darnold as your quarterback. 5-12. I have them in last place.
Yeah, that's good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bears
Um,
are a tricky one. I mean, I think this is the best team a number one overall pick has gone to in as far as I can remember. Like between the way they obviously got the pick from Carolina, the big offseason they had this year, they spent a ton of money last offseason.
yeah.
I think the offense line is okay. It's better than what they gave Justin Fields. The wide receiver options are obviously the best I think Chicago has ever seen
Oh,
in their
yeah.
franchise.
Yeah.
Um,
Very Eagles-esque.
yeah, defensively they had a couple pieces. I like Sweat a lot, Jalen Johnson. I don't know if there's
They're
a ton there.
I think they're a year early. I think next year they'll be really good. I think they're a year
Yeah,
early.
I don't know, man. I want to see Caleb do it in a little bit. Like, I don't know if I trust any Pac-12 quarterback. That's the thing. Like they play no defense. When I was working in bars and restaurants back in home, like I watched so much Pac-12 football because it's just no defense. It's just all points, and it's awesome. Besides Patrick Mahomes, there's not a ton of success coming out of those teams. Oh, Patrick Mahomes was Big 12 actually. So the Pac-12, like you don't see a lot of teams like that. Like the USC had no defense. They were getting in shootouts with teams. Like I want to see Caleb now. Like I don't trust the run game that much. I think people are going to know it's all Caleb and he's going to have it on his shoulders right away.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I am curious. So last year you said this one team was always must-see TV. Are you retiring that name? Are the Vikings no longer must-see TV?
It's tough to tell right now. It's tough to tell. Like
Maybe for the wrong reasons.
if Sam
Let's
Darnold was
avoid
going to go out there
TV.
and throw three interceptions and they somehow keep it competitive, like I'm all for it. Like if Sam Darnold somehow throws like two interceptions and two Justin Jefferson touchdowns,
Yeah,
listen,
they'll even
sign me up,
out.
man.
Every pick is a Justin Jefferson touchdown. So
Entertaining and good are not the same thing.
that is true. That is
That's what you got
true.
to recognize.
All right. Speaking of Mr. Kurt Cobain's cousins, NFC South. Um, I once again have this being the worst division in football, but
Same.
um, I think the Falcons hold on enough to 9-8 record, um, 4-2 in the division, so they only got 5 wins outside of the South. But I think they win the division. My surprise team of the year, I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. I think that they're not super talented on paper, but I think this quarterback's going to have a nice rebound season. And I think all the small pieces that they have are going to be very cohesive and they're going to play well together. I have the Panthers finishing second at 9-8, positive
Wow,
record.
really?
Yes.
Listen, I think they can only get better, but no. 9-8.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're
Bold.
telling me they're going to win 7 more games than they did last year for what? Deontay
E-
Johnson, Robert Hunt at guard? Like I don't know.
I think Xavier Legette could be pretty sneaky good. He seems very
I think they'll be better, but I'm
solid.
talking like maybe 5 wins, not 9. Get out of here.
I went bigger and I went home. So and then
Definitely going home.
I think the Bucks took a step back this year. They lost a lot of pieces this offseason, especially on defense. So I think they go 8-9, still close to the wild card, but 8-9. And then the Saints, I think, are the worst. Well, Saints and the Giants, I think, are going to compete for worst teams in the NFC. I think the Saints are a coach fire away already. They're
Yeah, I
four
would
and
agree with
thirteen
that.
at best. They look horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with some of the stuff you said. I disagree with the Panthers, obviously. I
I
also
think
have
it's
the
very
Falcons
very
winning the division.
Texans. I think it's very like CJ Stroud came out of nowhere, very much got them helped win them games. I think Bryce Young's going to help win them a lot of games. I think he's going to play really well. But
Yeah, we'll see about that. But I also have the Falcons win the division. This division's going to be my worst one in my prediction.
yeah,
Minus, I mean, the AFC West is right there, but Patrick Mahomes lives there, so
he
they'll
does live
get a
there.
pass.
Yeah,
Falcons win. I think they have a ton of talent. Defensively, they really brought in some good guys. Kirk has just got to be capable. That's all they have to be. He's just got to be capable, and I still think they can win this division. Doesn't have to be anything special. Just be competent, be capable, be Kirk Cousins, and you'll
Hmm.
be fine. I think the Bucks will be the Bucks. I don't have them making the playoffs. They're a borderline playoff team. If you have them in the playoffs, I wouldn't argue. I think they're
I
the
don't.
same exact team they are last year. I don't think they got worse. I don't think they got better. They're the same exact team,
I think
really.
they got a smidge worse, but
Yeah, I mean, it go either way with it.
eh,
The Panthers, you're over optimistic. I give them a
probably.
couple extra wins. I think Canales will help Bryce Young quite a bit. I think they brought in some better players, but I don't. That 5 wins is what I'm saying. And then the
Okay.
Saints, I agree, they're going to be a dumpster fire. I think
Yeah,
they're also going to be one of the worst NFC teams. They're old, they're expensive, and they're not very good. They fire their coach, the rebuild happens.
agreed. All right, so then the last team in the NFC or last division in the NFC, you have the NFC West. Excuse me. I have obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but I have the 49ers 12-5. And
Oh,
actually,
way too optimistic. Come on, man. All the crap they've gone through this offseason.
they'll still find a way to win 12
They have the
games.
combination of off-season nonsense and Super Bowl hangover going
Listen,
against them.
listen, I hate the 49ers as much as the next guy, but they're still gonna win at least 10 games. So I have them going 12-5.
I don't disagree with you there. I think they're going to be a wild card team. 12 wins is way too much. They've all the
What?
shit they've gone through. Trent Williams still not there.
So good thing I did say not obviously. If you just said wild card team, okay.
They're a wild
Um,
card team.
that's crazy. Okay. So I have them number one seed at 12-5. Um, then second in that division, I have the Rams finishing 11-6, so only a game behind them. They are the fifth seed, so they made the wild card. I think they're gonna have a really good season. Cardinals, I have nice rebound year. They go 7-10. Marvin Harrison Jr. has a really great season. Kyler has a nice rebound season. And then Seattle is weird. I don't know where I want to have them. I end up having them in last at 6-11. I think quarterback catches up to them. I don't think Gino's very good. I think he's getting older now too. Um, I think the first year coach is gonna have some growing pains. A lot of people are predicting them as like a sneaky team this year, but they have a lot of new players, a lot of young guys. I think kind of like Chicago. I think they're in like a transition period, trying to fit all these pieces together. So 6-11 for Seattle. I think they could win more games than that, but that's just kind of how my schedule went.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, like I said, I don't have the Niners winning the division. I actually have the Rams winning the division.
Wow.
I think the Rams are, I mean, the offense I think is loaded. Matt Stafford
He's getting
expecting a healthy year,
He's getting
Kyron
MVP
Williams.
odds, so he's,
I mean, look at the offense, man. You have Puka, you have Cooper Kupp, you have
yeah.
Kyron Williams, all these breakout guys.
Yeah.
The offensive line is stronger. I mean, it's not the best that's in the world, but it's definitely a lot stronger than what it's been before. But they have a ton of young talent on defense. Yeah, they drafted who was it? Jared Verse they drafted. They got Byron Young, Kobe Turner, brought in Tre'Davious White. Like these guys that these late round picks, you got to give what's his face, Les Snead credit. He's built this roster pretty strong without any picks. As we all recall, he said, fuck them picks and won a Super Bowl. But with the little picks that he's had, he's brought in guys like Kyron Williams and Puka and Kobe Turner and Ryan Young and these like younger
Good
guys that I think
talent
can make plays.
evaluator.
So yeah, I like the Rams. I like the Rams a lot this year. I think give McVay weapons and a healthy Stafford, the offense will always put up points.
Again, I hate the 49ers so much, but I can't have them. I think there's going to be a hangover, but I think it's going to affect them in the playoffs, not in the regular season. So,
Man, you cannot just waste away the fact that they've had two of the biggest red flags you don't want to see. Off-season drama with contract holdouts. They have two contract holdouts. Trent
mhm,
Williams has not even been figured out yet. Trent Williams might miss games.
crazy.
Trent Williams, I mean, I know Brandon Ayuk kind of gave in and took the money that they were offering 3 months ago, but Trent Williams doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. He strikes me as you're paying me or I'm not showing up. I don't care.
I like a lot
Like
of the
he's a guy I could see missing a couple games. Like he could pull a Chris Jones like last year. He knows how valuable he is. He doesn't care.
a lot of I thought it was funny. A lot of 49ers fans were like commenting on social media. They're like, yeah, I mean, I like Ayuk, but like, why didn't you give that money to Trent Williams? So, um, yeah, we'll see. But shall we move to the
Yeah, I mean that's the
AFC?
thing. You sorted out Ayuk, which but oh hold on, can I wrap up my division? No?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like I agree with you and the 49er fans. Like I would have sorted out Trent Williams first. Let
Oh,
Ayuk figure out what the hell he's doing.
absolutely.
Williams should have been dealt with first. Also, you could have called Ayuk's bluff. He really had nothing to stand on. He's nowhere near these top wide receivers
No,
talent wise.
no, it's a joke.
But this, I mean, then you can't ignore that, and you cannot ignore the Super Bowl hangover. I wouldn't. I'd like to see Brock Purdy come crashing down to earth a little
Oh,
bit.
it
The
would make
defense
me
got
so
worse.
happy. I don't mean to hate on
I will
Brock.
tell
I'm sure
you,
he's a fine guy, but man, the hype around him, I would just love to see it come crashing down.
I think the 49ers are a Christian McCaffrey injury away from really struggling.
I thought the same thing driving home because I was like, I do think they're going to be the number one in their division. I don't know if they're going to be number one seed, if they're going to be two or three, but like I said, it just kind of ended up that they were the number one seed. They had the same record as the Eagles in my prediction, but I guess some kind of tiebreaker had the Eagles in second place and not first. But
I definitely don't have number one in the division, the conference. I don't have one in the division, and I'll tell you right now,
hmm,
they might not
tell
come
me.
in second place in their division. I have one of my bigger surprise is the Seahawks. I
So
like the
you're
Seahawks this
okay,
year
you're one of those people. All right.
because you know what? I like the McDaniel hire. Look what
Hmm.
he did with the Ravens defense last year.
I
And I'll
think he's
go
a
a
good
step
hire, yeah.
further. Byron Murphy is going to be my defensive rookie of the year. He, I think,
Wow.
steps into that
Okay.
Justin
Okay.
Matabuke role. Justin Matabuke had a breakout season last year, played D tackle, lighter guy who could get after the quarterback. Byron
Yeah.
Murphy, I think, fits that mold a little bit well. I liked what Devin Witherspoon was doing. They've got some talent in the secondary. I think McDaniel comes in and really builds up that defense where it's really strong. Gino's Gino. I'm not going to say Gino's really going to get better than he is, but I think with a strong defense, which I think McDaniel gives them, the Seahawks could really make some noise. I really want to put them ahead of the Niners in the division. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have that much confidence, but they're going to be close. McCaffrey gets hurt for an extended period of time. Seahawks beat them in the division. Calling it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
The Cardinals. This is the toughest division in the NFL, in my opinion. So the Cardinals, while they can be better, they're still going to fall in their walls in the way in the cellar. But I do have one sliver of hope. I
Uh-huh.
know all the hype around the quarterbacks and the offensive rookie of the year is kind of a quarterback war, but I'm not going to forget the fact that Marvin Harrison Jr. apparently is a top 10 quarterback or top 10 wide receiver in
Not
your
top 10
rankings.
quarterback, no.
But apparently he's a top 10 wide receiver in your rankings already. So he's definitely offensive rookie of the year in my book.
Well, that's a spoiler for later, but
There you
um
go.
yeah, I don't know, it's weird. See, I think I well, obviously grew up an Eagles fan, but I also grew up a bit of a Sean Alexander fan, so I started liking the Seahawks when I was a kid, besides the Eagles. But the Seahawks have been like beating down the Eagles every time they play. So I've kind of like pushed them away a little bit. Um
Very fair.
but yeah, I mean I'd like to see them do well. I think I think they could be, like you said, they could be sneaky good, or they could just be, I think they'll either be better than last year or they'll be worse than last year. I don't think they'll be the same as that like fringe playoff team. I think they'll be either bad or they'll be, the second and third place, but in a good positive record. So we'll see. Um, moving on to the AFC North, which is probably the best division in football. Um, I have the Ravens finishing with the best record in the NFL, 13
Wow.
and 4.
That's what they were last year, right?
I don't remember. But yeah, 13 and 4. And then second place, I have the Bengals, who were hot on their tail. And as I was doing this, I went week by week, and I could see like each week they would flip between first and second place. So the Bengals went 12 and 5, which is would have finished for tied for best in the NFC. Um, and they get the fifth wild card spot, or the fifth playoff spot. Um, Browns went 9 and 8. I wanted to give them a better record, but I think quarterback is such a huge question mark that I don't know where to rank them. Um, and I had to kick them out of the playoffs, so they finish as the eighth best team in the AFC, missing the playoffs at 9 and 8. And then the Steelers, and I don't know how bold it is, but Mike Tomlin's going to have his first non over 500 season. He's going to finish 7 and 10, and the Steelers are not going to make the playoffs. They will be one of the worst AFC teams on record for based on the rankings, but 7 and 10, and the quarterback mystery that they're doing is not going to work because both quarterbacks suck. So
Yeah, I mean, that was my bold prediction last year. He
I know.
narrowly beat it, but whatever. I also have the Ravens win this division. I'm high on the Ravens.
hmm
I don't know exactly where the record will finish. They were 13 and 4 last year, but I think the Ravens, like, I'm excited for that Derrick Henry move for them. I think their defense will still be strong.
Yeah.
Lamar showed a lot of passing prowess last year, so I'm good on the Ravens. Burrow and the Bengals, I'm high on them as well. That's gonna be a tough division fight. I really think Burrow, T. Higgins, and Chase light it up. Chase and Higgins both went contracts. Chase wants to get paid more than anyone else, and
Yep.
Higgins knows that he's leaving in free agency next year. I think Burrow has a redemption tour. I expect the Bengals offense to put up a lot of points. So they're going to be a tough one as well. I have both of them in the playoffs. I got the Browns in third, don't making the play, not making the playoffs. It's just
Mm.
the Browns. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. Like
Good defense,
Deshaun Watson
phenomenal
hasn't played
defense, but
football like in like 3 years
and we
between
don't know
injuries
about
and
Nick Chubb
suspensions.
either.
I'm not going to buy into the Browns. I think they'll be like similar to what they were, 9 and 8, 8 and 9, whatever you want to pick. And then the Steelers, yeah, they're in last. Division's too strong. AFC's too strong. They're not going to find a lot of cheap wins. And if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have any. So I'm not buying into Russell Wilson, Justin Fields thing.
All right. Fair enough.
But shall we move to, because this one I want to start off,
Okay.
because
Okay.
this is my biggest surprise.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
AFC South. I know everyone and their grandmother have the Texans winning the division.
Not this
I
guy.
do have the Texans winning the wild card.
So do
So
I.
they are in the playoffs.
hmm
The team that I think finally puts together, they're my surprise here. I'm going with the Jags
I
to win the division.
also have the Jags winning the division.
I think Lawrence takes the step. I like the weapons around him. I think ETN is going to be having a breakout year. Christian Kirk, Ingram, Gabe Davis, that's a nice solid crew. I think it's a sum of all parts come together stronger than, one true number one. I think Trayvon Walker has a breakout year as well, across from Josh Allen. I
hmm
think those two become one of the premier duos, pass rushing wise. And I have confidence in Doug, man. I think Doug finally puts this together. Things have not worked out so well. Lawrence has never taken that step forward, but I think does it. I think Doug puts it together. They win the division. I don't think the division is particularly strong. I have the Titans in the bottom cellar. Texans are in the playoffs. Like I said, they're in second place. Colts, I think they'll make noise. I think Anthony Richardson takes a little bit longer to develop just because how raw he was and didn't really play much last year. But the Colts, I could still see making some noise. I'm not writing them off completely. The Titans will be terrible, though. They will be competing for number one overall pick.
Yeah, I can't believe how accurate our like mine's almost exactly identical to yours. So Jaguars I have finishing first place in the division. So it ended up being the Jags had finished 10-7. The Texans also finished 10-7, but the Jags went 5-1 in the division and the Texans went 3-3. So um I think yeah, I think Texans get the second wild card spot. I think the Colts finish around 8-9. I think just like you said, I think Anthony Richardson is getting almost like the Jordan Love treatment. He's getting way too much hype for such a small sample size. I like Richardson as a prospect. I hope he does really well, but I think he's got to go through some more growing pains. He played like 2 games last year. We
Yeah,
can't base his
they look
projections off
good.
2 games, but we'll see. And then yeah, I have Titans like 6-11, 5-12. Not competing for number one pick, but they are in the top 10 of picks. So
Fair enough. Shall
all
we
right.
get into the AFC East, which has all the headlines and will be one of the most talked about divisions all season?
Sure. Would you like to lead off?
I have so my big one of my biggest disappointments with the Packers lives in this division.
Hmm.
I got the Dolphins winning the division. I'm sold
Um,
on I think
hmm.
you saw a lot the first year offensively from Tua, Tyreek Hill, Waddle, A-Chain, Mostert. Let's now see the second year of it. I think McDaniel can put together a very strong offense. Everything you saw last year, why don't you think they can do it again or do it better than what they did last year?
I don't know what it is about the Dolphins, but they don't scream championship caliber team to me. I don't know what it is, but I just don't get that feeling.
They still get the regular season vibe to me because they're like one of those like it's when they went to Kansas City in the cold and they just sucked. They're more of a regular season team, but I think that they win the division. I think Mike McDaniel and the offense get play really strong. I mean, I'll show my hand. Why not? I think McDaniel wins Coach of the Year. I really think that they're going to put up a lot of points.
Wow.
I think they're doing a regular season do really well. I wouldn't say I'm very confident in them in the playoffs unless I see some other things. Defensively, I think they have enough talent to win games.
Okay.
But I'm really sold on the offense, man. Everything you saw last year, it's going to year two now. All of the same cast is here. Nothing has changed.
I I I think defensively they got worse, but
Well,
I
yeah, I
don't
mean, you lost Christian Wilkins, but Jalen Phillips is healthy. Jalen Ramsey's still there. What's his face? The other corner.
Ramsey.
Uh, no, Jalen Ramsey and the guy across from him. I can't remember his name right now. Xavier something.
Xavier, I
Maybe I'm
forget.
making that up.
No, Xavier Howard is not on the team anymore. I don't think.
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else.
Didn't they get one of the Fuller brothers playing cornerback?
No, Xavier Howard. Yeah, it's Xavier Howard. That's what I meant. Xavier
No,
X. Yeah, he's
I'm
still
pretty
there.
sure. No, I don't think he is.
He is. He is. I'm moving on.
He's
But
a
yeah.
free agent.
So yeah,
Not
he's
on.
coming back.
Says he's a free agent.
You know his birthday is July 4th.
Yours? You're in
No,
July.
Xavier Howard.
Oh, he's
Yeah, I wasn't born on July 4th.
he's a 93 baby.
Yes, July 4th, 1993. Look at that.
All right, hold on.
Moving on.
I'll get you the depth chart. Just give me a second. Continue.
Second place. Second place. I hate to say it, but I've got Aaron Rodgers and his clown show in the wild card.
Wow. I don't
I
agree with
mean,
you.
listen, the Jets won 7 games last year with you playing quarterback. Even if Aaron Rodgers isn't going to light the world on fire, which I don't think he's going to, they can still win 10 games. There's a lot of talent on that team. The defense is strong. Garrett Wilson, I think, is going to have a huge year. Brees Hall's healthy. I'm not really sold on the offensive line. I'm not really sold on Aaron Rodgers coming out and lighting the world on fire, but they'll make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win the division, but they'll make the playoffs. And then moving on to my biggest disappointment, I mean, just look at the team. It's not just Stephon Diggs. The defense is old. There's not many players on it that are any good. The offense has no playmakers. I think Cook and Kincaid are nice players, but they're going to be put into number one passing threat offense or a passing option. And James Cook's this Bills team, like we talked about on the wide receiver episode, the Bills team is now a run first team, and
Yeah.
that's a lot to put on Cook. Patrick Mahomes did it every year. They got rid of his best, they got rid of Tyreek Hill. They got in a new cast of wide receivers nearly yearly, and he would win a Super Bowl. I don't know if Josh Allen can do that. The defense isn't very good. I just don't see the Bills getting there. I think they've reached their peak. They've gotten old. Von Miller is probably your best player in defense, if you want to say that. And I mean, he's not a guy I want to tie my ship to. I just think they're gonna have a down year. And their schedule, man. The Bills' schedule is what really scared me off. They are playing, so they start the year off with the Dolphins. Then they go to Jacksonville. Then they play the Ravens. Then they play the Texans. Then they play the Jets. You realistically could go on five there. You get a cakewalk with the Titans. You play Seattle, who I think is going to be very strong. Go to Miami, Colts, no cakewalk. Then you got to play the Chiefs, Niners, Rams, Lions in a row.
Yeah.
Get a cakewalk with the Patriots. Finish the season with the Jets again and the Patriots again. I mean, the Patriots being two of their last three games almost hurts them. I think you need them sprinkled in the beginning of the season to keep the momentum high. That run of the Chiefs, Niners, and Rams in like I think it was like week 11 to 14 is going to be tough, man. That's going to be almost nail in the coffin if you drop those three games. KC and San Fran, you're going there too. Their schedule is really tough. I just don't see them getting better than last year. And then who's left? The Patriots. Yeah, the Patriots will be drafted top five again. Drake May will play by like week 7.
Um, so first thing, I am smart. Kendall Fuller is now on the Dolphins. I would know. He's a Virginia Tech alum.
That
Um,
was irrelevant. I said Xavier Howard.
he's not on the team.
I think he is.
Um,
His birthday is on July 4th, and he plays for the Dolphins.
all right. Okay. Um, mine is very flip-flop from yours. I'll start at the bottom because I agree with you with the bottom. Um, Congratulations to the New England Patriots. You will be getting the number one overall pick this upcoming draft. I have them going 3-14. I think they are horrible. If
Yeah.
Jalen Reagor is getting cut at wide receiver, you know you have terrible wide receiver options. Um,
Wait, if Jalen Reagor is getting cut, I think that's a good sign that Jalen Reagor is gonna. Had he made the team, I would be very concerned.
I don't know. Either way, they're Drake may will play, but they're not. He would be starting if that line wasn't top five worst lines in the NFL. So they're gonna let Brissett play so that he he can break they can break his bones and not the rookies.
Reasonable.
But I mean, if you traded away your best defensive player for like a mid round pick or whatever it was, I don't. And they lost one of I think their defensive tackle is out for the year too.
They're
Um,
full rebuild. Full rebuild.
yeah, they're gonna be horrible. I think they're gonna be the
So
worst record in the league.
moving on from the bottom as well, I'm like curious, who do you have winning the division? Are you going to tease me by
No, I'm
going
gonna tease
backwards
you.
forwards?
I'm gonna tease you as I work my way up. That sounded dirty. So my third team finishing 8-9. My surprise disappointments, the Miami Dolphins.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
can't tell you why. It's just gonna be one of those years for them that you have all these
Classic
pieces.
Dakota. Make a
Oh,
bold statement, but have no reason for it.
OBJ is in the fold now too,
What?
but
What? What does
yeah,
OBJ have to do with anything?
he's on the team. He is on the team, not Xavier Howard, but
What is he? Just bad juju to be around the team?
no,
I didn't even know he was on the team.
I'm saying they have Tyreek Hill, they have Jalen Waddle, now they have OBJ, they have good running backs, they have Tua, who's a solid starter. But I just something is in the water to me, and they're just going to be a disappointment this year. I don't know I can't put my finger on it, but I have to give these other two teams have better players in my eyes. So second place, I have the Jets, 10-7, squeeze
Wow.
their way into the
So
playoffs.
we are flip flop on this
That's
division.
what I said. Jets squeezed into the playoffs at 10-7. I think Rodgers, it's not the Rodgers of old. He's very up and down all year. I think their defense carries them. I think Garrett Wilson has a nice season. I think Breece Hall has a nice season, but I think Rodgers is a little underwhelming. And they go 10-7 and get the seventh playoff spot. And going an astounding 5-1 in their division, the games that matter. 11-6 Buffalo Bills, led by
Really?
led by my 2024 NFL MVP, Josh Allen.
Okay.
It's giving Patriots. There's think about it. How many times did Tom Brady win the division with no name wide receivers, a good tight end, a good running game, and a solid defense? I think the Bills will be good on defense. Sean McDermott's the
Well, you're
defensive
missing the
coach.
word spectacular defense, and I do not see that with this Bills roster. Patriots always had a spectacular defense, and that's the problem with the Bills. They got no weapons, and their defense is old and
Well, I
crappy.
said 11-6, so they're only one game over the Jets. I mean, it's not like the Dolphins had a terrible year. They went 8-9, but I think they
It's a
struggle in
regression.
division. I had them struggling in division 2-4. I just don't think. I think their schedule's kind of tough, so I don't know. I don't think they're going to make it. But Bills, they end up getting the third playoff spot at 11-6. So
See, the problem with Josh Allen, though, that I see is he's going to be asked to do a lot because he's not. There's not going to be much around him.
it's fine.
And yeah, the problem is the more he's asked to do, that's when he starts turning the ball over. That's when he starts holding too long and fumbles. That's when he starts making these insane passes and gets picked off. I think he almost needs to take a step back. And right now with this offense, I don't think he can. Obviously, they're going to be more run heavy, so we'll see what happens. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I just look at the defense; it's old and slow. The offense is obviously taking a step back. Like they've lost a couple of the offensive linemen, which is a big loss. You know, the offensive line isn't as good as it was.
yeah.
I mean, we'll see what happens, but I just when Josh Allen stops turning the ball over so much, I'll feel a little bit more confident in him without all these weapons around him. So we'll see. I mean, you haven't given me any reason for why the Dolphins are going to be worse besides the fact that they have Odell Beckham on their team for whatever reason that matters. He's on the pup, by the way, so he's not even going to play the first like 4 weeks.
The only I told you I just the way the schedule as I picked it, it just kind of worked out that way, and I had the Bills and the Jets winning more in division games than them, and I don't know. I think I think the Dolphins could be either super high, I very Seattle like. I think they could be really surprising, or they could be really disappointing. So we'll see. Um,
Fair enough. Well, moving on to our last division, and this is going to be one of the worst, but this
yeah,
is, I mean, I think it's fair to say the Chiefs will win this division easily. I think they'll have it wrapped up by like week 12.
I might have wrapped up by week 4.
Yeah, I got the Raiders fighting a good fight. Gardner Minshew will keep them alive. They'll be fighting for a wild card. They got some good singular talent. I like Antonio Pierce. He kind of gives me that D'Amico Ryans vibe, former linebacker, former leader in the locker room. But yeah, they're just missing a lot. The Broncos and Chargers will both be terrible. I think
Yes.
the Broncos will be a little bit better.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The Broncos, maybe Bo Nix will be a little bit something. The Chargers, we know are going to be terrible, and I think we're expecting them to be terrible. They're going to run the ball 300 times a game with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards and try to keep Herbert alive and
Hmm.
see where it goes next year. But yeah, not a strong division by any means.
Okay. I had obviously Chiefs winning the division, coming in second in the AFC playoff race, 12-5. I also had the Raiders coming second in division at 8-9. I think like you said, I think Mitchell will do enough to win them some games, but I don't know what happened. I had them going 5-1 in the division. So I'm not sure
So
what
you had them beating the Chiefs at some
they
point.
split, yeah, they split with the Chiefs. Um Chargers, I have a surprising 8-9. I think they're gonna win more games than they should with this roster, but it's not gonna be enough to get to the wild card spot. And the Broncos, I have at 5-12. They're rebuilding. They have a lot of issues. So, and that's yeah.
Fair
I
enough.
think we have
Well,
pretty fairly
so
similar, except for a couple teams. But
so which awards? I mean, I left out a couple. I know you touched on your MVP. I gave you my rookies, my coach, my disappointing surprises. So defensive player of the year. I'll start with this one
Okay.
because we were just talking about this division. I'm gonna go out of left field because I feel like Garrett, TJ Watt, Michael Parsons, they're all boring. That's what everyone's picking.
Right.
I'm gonna go with Max Crosby. I like the Christian
I
Wilkins
wanted
pickup for
to.
them.
I really wanted to.
I like the Christian Wilkins pickup. Crosby's a beast. I think he's gonna have a solid year. I mean, it's just beating out the guys like TJ Watt, Miles Garrett, and Parsons. I mean, those are your three dudes. Do you have room for the fourth? I think Wilkins helped him. It's the most help he's ever had. So I got Crosby there. And then offensive player of the year. I mean, I already got into it. I mean, I'm standing on this one. I've said it numerous times. I think Saquon Barkley is just going to destroy the league. I love what the Eagles have planned for him. He's going to just crush the league. He's on a vengeance tour. He wanted to be an Eagle badly. Kellen Moore knows how he's going to use him. This offense is stacked. Saquon Barkley is going to be incredible in both
Stop.
passing and offense.
You're getting me excited.
And then since you already said your MVP, I'm going to go with another MVP. I touched on it, man. They're going to put up a lot of yards, a lot of points. It's the redemption tour. Chase is going to be the highest paid wide receiver in the offseason. T. Higgins is going to go to a new team and get the biggest deal in free agency. And Joe Burrow is going to win an MVP because they're going to win. They're going to just score so many points. Those three, because you know what? Joe Burrow is also my comeback player of the year. The three of
Mm.
them are just going to ball the fuck out. The T.
Okay.
Higgins Chase want money, and Joe Burrow needs to remind the league who Joe Burrow is. So I've got that trio just balling out. Offensive rookie of the year, player of the year came down to Barkley and Chase, but Saquon all the day.
Okay. My MVP, Josh Allen. My comeback player of the year is Joe Burrow, Mr. Joe Burrow.
Nice.
Offensive player of the year, I touched on this in in our wide receiver episode. Jamar Chase, I think, is going to have a career year. I think he's going to, put the league on notice. So I have him as offensive player of the year. Defensive player of the year, I went back and forth on this for a while. I do like the thought of Max Crosby. I tickled the idea of Aiden Hutchinson winning.
Mm.
However, this guy has finished top three in voting every year he's been in the league, so he's gonna have to win it eventually. I got Micah Parsons winning Defensive Player of the Year. Um, Offensive Rookie of the Year, I have Marvin Harrison Jr. A la, like I said in my the wide receivers episode, I think he's gonna ball out. And then Defensive Rookie of the Year, I have from the Vikings, I have Dallas Turner. I think the Vikings are going to suck, but I think Dallas Turner is going to have a nice double-digit sack year and is going to light some people up.
Fair enough. Well, so that leaves us our Super Bowl matchup.
Well,
So I think
well,
I've already
well.
told.
Who's your
I'm
coach?
sorry. Did I get ahead of myself?
Coach of the year?
Oh, McDaniels.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
we told you, McDaniels.
I
We're gonna score
have
lots.
John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh.
Really? Okay. I listen. Okay. This rolls into another point
They're the
I
number
made.
one
So
number one record in the league according to my
listen, I'm
stats.
not going to argue with you because
Okay.
my Super Bowl prediction.
Well, let's
I've got
let's
the
hold on. Oh,
Baltimore
no, 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 no,
Ravens.
no, no, no. That's we got to go. We
Well,
got
hold
to
on. This is
go. Go
this is
round
the
by round
transition
here.
from your Coach of the Year.
No, 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 no. We got to go round by round here.
Oh, buddy, I don't have the round by round. I'm not
All
that
right.
like clairvoyant.
All right. I'll do my round by round then.
I gave you my divisions and my wild card. I was trying to make a smooth transition into my Super Bowl pick off your Coach of the Year. I
All
was trying
right.
to
All right. All
validate your
right. All
Coach of the
right.
Year.
All right. My coach of the year is John Harbaugh. Tim, what do you have to say to
Thank you. I agree with you
that?
there. I think it's gonna be tough when you're an established coach like that. This is why Belichick hasn't won Coach of the Year every single year, or
Mm,
Andy Reid.
hmm.
But I think this is when they break the glass ceiling and they slay Patrick Mahomes because I have the Ravens in the Super Bowl. I think Derrick Henry's the game changer, man. Look at what that happened in the offense. Lamar threw
Yeah.
the ball well all year,
Yeah.
and the Chiefs defense smothered them. And the problem with the Ravens is their best passing threat their best threat in the passing game is also their best threat in the running game. And now they have Derrick Henry no longer. So I think that's gonna be a big move. Defense will be strong. John Harbaugh, your coach of the year, brings the Ravens to the Super Bowl, and they play, of course, go Birds. I mean, if the Eagles have a chance, obviously I'm going to pick them in the Super Bowl. Like, there's
Yeah.
just no way I'm not going to.
Yeah. Um, okay, so I also have a Ravens versus Eagles Super Bowl, and
Oh, look at that. Okay.
I have the Eagles winning, of course.
Of
But
course.
I have before I get to my breakdown of the bracket, I have an interesting idea that I heard from another I think it was the Ringer podcast. And they were saying that would it shock you if in a bold mid-season trade, if Hassan Reddick is still having turmoil with the Jets, that they ship him off to Baltimore to get some added pass rush, give him a new contract. He goes and plays for Baltimore and he meets the Eagles in the Super Bowl, but then loses another Super Bowl. That'd be interesting.
To be fair, I forgot about Hassan Reddick.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for him to get flipped back to the Eagles for a fourth round
I don't
pick,
think there's
a
any,
la Chauncey Gardner Johnson.
I don't even know if there's any photos of him wearing a Jets t-shirt yet. So, um, but
It's kind of wild. Is Trent Williams and Hassan Reddick both not going to play? Jamar Chase came back to practice. Are they both not going to play week one?
I don't know. But um, actually, almost forgot to. We had a couple guest award picks. So we have Bobby, who's usually on our NFL draft prediction simulation thing, our mock draft. He had, drum roll please, Rams over the Chiefs. He's way higher on the Rams than I am, but he also had Tua as MVP, very questionable. Christian
Oh, see, I told you.
McCaffrey.
Put up points.
Christian McCaffrey was his offensive player of the year. DJ Watt was his defensive player of the year. Jaden Daniels won offensive rookie of the year. Jared Verse, defensive player of the year. Dave Canales is the coach. Bryce Young is comeback player of the year. I like that. And his surprise team is the Panthers. I agree. And his surprise disappointment is the Bills. So he's very back and
He's
forth
on the
with,
same
with our
wavelength.
own
Yeah.
their own there.
Well, curious for you. You have the Panthers winning what, 9 games? How do you not have Dave Canales as the coach of the year?
Because I have John Harbaugh as coach of the year.
John Harbaugh better go undefeated then.
I don't know. 9 wins might have been incredibly generous, but I do think they pushed the Falcons for that play or not the Falcons. Yeah, the Falcons. For the division. Um all right. And then Nick, who obviously does our quarterback episode and a lot of other also on our mock draft. Eagles over Ravens as well. We have three people, Eagles over Ravens. That should be a good sign. He also has Josh Allen as MVP. Respect that.
Hmm.
Tyreek Hill, Offensive Player of the Year. So we have a lot of Dolphins love. Maybe I'm the one who's misinformed, but
You usually are.
that's okay. Uh, he has Pat Surtain, Defensive Player of the Year. I would love that. I love Pat Surtain. It's very rare for a corner to win, so I don't think it's going to
They're not going to
happen.
win enough games.
Yeah, I also agree with that. It's going to be tough. It's Jaden Daniels, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Laialatu as Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he's the leading odds to win Defensive Rookie of the Year right now. He's on
Don't
the
hate it.
He's on the Colts, I believe.
Yeah, I mean he's a good pass rusher. I mean, listen, numbers are big in these awards.
Yeah. Surprising, he has Sean McDermott, Coach of the Year. Um, I
He's
think
with you, man. I don't see the love for the Bills, dude. I just don't see it.
so. We had Bobby was with you with the Dolphins and the Rams love, and now Nick's with me with the Bills love. um, Joe Burrow, Comeback Player of the Year. He has the Falcons as a surprise team. I don't see that. I think they disappoint a little bit, honestly, but we'll see. They are loaded a little bit on both sides of the ball now. A lot of talent. And then disappointment team, he has the Steelers, which again, like I said, I don't know if they're actually a surprise disappointment because I don't think anyone's predicting them to be good,
No, I don't. I don't. Yeah, I don't think so either.
but we'll see. Quick breakdown. So my wild card, I would have the Bengals playing the Jags, Houston playing at Buffalo, and the Jets playing at KC. I have the Bengals winning, the Bills winning, and the Chiefs winning. NFC wild card, I have Rams at the Falcons. I have the Rams winning. Cowboys at the Lions. I have the Lions winning, and then Green Bay at Philly. So we get a nice little rematch from the game one of the season. And I obviously have the Eagles winning that. Moving on to the divisional round, we have oh, my images aren't loading. Let's see. I have who was it? Wow, this is annoying. I can't read this. Let's see. I have the Eagles beating the Lions. And then I have the 49ers beating the Rams, bearing any injuries. And then AFC side, Bills surprisingly beating the Chiefs in the divisional. Josh Allen, like I said,
Absolutely not.
he gets over that
Absolutely
hump.
not.
He gets over that hump, gets to the SC Championship game in his MVP season. Bengals and Ravens, we get one of the best playoff matchups of the season. Um, Ravens win in a overtime thriller. Then we have Ravens Bills AFC Championship game. Ravens win that one. Eagles Niners championship game. Eagles take them down. Eagles beat the Ravens in the Super Bowl. And I will say the reason I do have the Niners going farther than you, but besides the Patriots team that lost to the Eagles in the 2017 Super Bowl, 2018 Super Bowl, there's never been a team to lose the Super Bowl and then go back the next year besides that Patriots team. And I don't think the 49ers are
Mm,
built like that. So I don't think they're going to be back in the Super
mm.
Bowl, whether it's the Eagles or not. I don't think the Niners are going to be in it. So, um, like you said, they have a lot of issues
I mean,
going on. But
I tried telling you that for the reason they're not going to win the division, but
yeah, yeah, yeah,
nonetheless,
yeah.
I think that's a good preview. Shall we roll into our power rankings?
We shall. So this is fresh. This is live. We have not done this. Well, I haven't done it ahead of time, but I bet it's easiest to start at number one. So
That's obvious.
the Chief, I gotta say we gotta have the Chiefs, right?
It has to be the Chiefs. Yeah, it
Super
has
Bowl
to be.
defenders. I would put the Ravens at two.
I was going to say 2-3 is Ravens, Eagles. Flip them whatever way you want, but fine. We can go Ravens, then Eagles.
I
I'd
would
say our top three
say I
teams.
would say Niners at three.
Absolutely not. I would have taken the Lions over the Niners. I
Ri-
was thinking the Niners at 5.
no. All right. Well, if we're gonna flip, we'll go Eagles three, Niners at four.
Listen, put it in this perspective. Trent Williams does not play week 1. They're not a top 3 team for me.
I think you're overreacting a little.
But is he going to play? We'll see. I would say my top 5. You can move it if you want. Chiefs, Ravens, Eagles, Lions, Niners.
All right, Lions. We'll do Eagles, Niners at four, Lions at five. Six,
Fine.
Bengals.
I like the Bengals. I was going to say, yeah, I like the Bengals.
Seven, Rams.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously high on the Rams, so
Eight,
it's gonna be a
mm,
tough one. Anyone from the AFC East? Do you want to bite on any of the Jets or the
Texans.
Dolphins, Cowboys,
Texans.
Texans? I'm fine with that.
Texans at
And then
eight.
9 and 10's got to be some bloated up fan fiction, either the Cowboys, the Dolphins, the Jets, some other just hoopla.
Do we want the Jags if we're gonna have them winning the division, or not, or too soon for them?
I think it's too soon right now. They're my surprise for a reason. I say Cowboys is actually a fair number 9.
Cowboys, and then
And
10,
then who's your best AFC East team? Bills, Dolphins,
Bills.
or Jets? Fine, Bills
Bills.
at 10.
All right, I like it. All right, so that was our top 10, and then we're going to end this episode off with our usual game picks. Starting off week one. So Thursday night, Ravens at the Chiefs. Should be a great game. Who do we have, Tim?
Ravens versus the Chiefs. I thought it was the is it not the Texans versus the Chiefs? Oh no, I'm sorry, it is the Ravens. I apologize. I don't know where I got the Texans.
I don't know either.
I'm going Ravens, man. I feel like this is a make or break game. The Ravens did not forget about this. This is their rematch from the AFC Championship game. The Chiefs could, it's they're two-time defending Super Bowl champs. It doesn't matter if they lose. They lost to the Lions last year. This is a get me game for the Ravens.
I'm gonna go defending champs. They lost against the Lions last year in the season opener. I can't see them losing back-to-back season openers off a Super Bowl win. I got the Chiefs. Um, Next game is Eagles and the Packers in Brazil. Should be interesting. Friday at 8 o'clock. So obviously we're
Go
gonna
Birds,
go
baby.
birds. Yeah. If they lose this game, it's gonna be rough. But it's early in the season, so we can always rebound. But
The Packers are a playoff contender. It's not like you're losing to a crap team. I
true,
mean, I know I'm down on the Packers, but they are a
as
playoff
am I.
contender.
First, the game on Sunday starts at 1. We have Panthers at the Saints. I'm gonna go Carolina here. Like I said, I am high
Boy,
on the
talk
Saints
about a
or high on the
toilet bowl.
Panthers. Toilet Bowl is the first game you get to watch on Sunday.
Oh God, that's ugly. I mean, sure, why not? I'll throw Carolina a win. I think they're gonna do better than last year. No, I mean, you have them winning 9 games, which are insane. So I have winning like five. They got to find five somewhere in the schedule.
You want to talk about toilet bowl games? The next one we have is Vikings at the Giants.
Wow, really, we're really firing here.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I'll take the Giants. I mean, I know
Hmm.
McCarthy wasn't really going to light the world on fire, but you lost your wide receiver, your quarterback one, who was doing all the snaps in training camp. That's going to set you back. We saw Burrow in the Bengals last year. You know, the quarterback one missing those snaps is big.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna go Minnesota here. The picking picking out of a straw hat here, or whatever the fucking phrase is. Um, next game, Patriots at Bengals. Yeah, we're gonna pencil in Cincinnati for both of us there.
Yeah.
Um, Steelers at the Falcons. That's kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Uh,
The return of, well, two veteran quarterbacks in two different atmospheres. I'm not buying the Steelers. I'm going to assume that the Falcons will be ready to rock and roll. Big offseason for defense. The offensive player, although I think Kyle Pitts is already hurt, who, man, the more and more
yeah,
we talk about, the more and more I keep
he's
putting
gonna
that
be a
bust out
bust.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Kirkle Bangs will win this one.
I also think the Falcons take care of it. It's at home. I don't know if Falcons have much of a home field advantage, but they're gonna be into it. Good division game. Texans at the Colts.
Hmm. I like this. I like the game. I think the Texans are going to win. We said this about Anthony Richardson. He's so raw when he was coming out. He looked really good in those 3 or 4 games he played, but he's going to take some time to get back up to game speed. I like him and Steichen for the season, but the Texans win this one.
Yeah, I have Houston as well. Um, Next game, Cardinals at the Bills. Like I said, I'm high on Marvin Harrison Jr., but I'm also very high on Josh Allen and the Bills, so I think they take care of business.
I'm down on the Bills, but they'll win this one. They have to, man. Could you imagine the Bills come out week one and lose this one after all the offseason stuff?
Sure. Next game we have Titans at the Bears. First game for
Yeesh.
Caleb Williams. Does he
And
come
you
out
know
with
what?
a
He's going to find a win here. Yeah, the Bears are not a bad team. Like I said, this is the best team for a number one overall quarterback I can ever think of that they've gone to. The best team that a number one overall quarterback's ever gone to in my history of football being a fan.
I think one thing we need to remember too is the first 4 weeks of the NFL season are an absolute shit show. So teams are going to win that aren't supposed to win. I'm gonna have Tennessee win here in like a weird sloppy game. It's gonna
Fair
be
enough.
a lot of field goals. Uh, Good game here. Jaguars and the Dolphins. Hmm.
Two of my two teams I'm high on actually.
I'm gonna go Jaguars.
I'll take the Dolphins. I could have gone either way on this, to be honest. I'm high on both teams.
All right, our first 4 o'clock game. We have uh the Broncos at Seattle. What do you like?
Ooh, well, the what could have been the return of Russell Wilson.
Hmm.
I'm taking the Seahawks. They just the Broncos, especially with a rookie at quarterback in week one, don't see them coming out firing.
Yeah, I like Seattle on that one. Next game, Raiders at the Chargers. Like I said, I think the Chargers are a fucking mess. I'm gonna take the Raiders here. I think it's a coin flip
You know what?
though.
I'll throw a bone. I'll say Jim Harbaugh comes out and wins this week one game.
Okay. Take your bone.
I have no reason
Um,
to, but whatever.
then we have the Dallas Cowboys at the Cleveland Browns, 4:25 p.m.
This one's a tough one. I'll take the
Unfortunately,
Cowboys though.
yeah, I'm gonna go Dallas as well. Um,
You know what? You know what it is? I'm just not buying in the Browns with Deshaun Watson. It's so long ago now that Deshaun Watson was actually like an elite quarterback. Like I don't even look at him as like this really stud quarterback.
yeah, I don't. I know I was high on him last year in our quarterback episode. I had him at like 10, but I was like, I think he's going to do well. I,
If
I
one guy's going to have rust in week one, it'll be him.
I just don't think he's going to ever return to form. That's why I didn't have them making the playoffs. But um, yeah, I have Dallas too there. Next game, last 4 o'clock game we have is the Commanders at the Buccaneers. I actually am going to take, again, I said it's wild week ones. I'm going to take Washington here to beat the Bucks.
Oh, I wanted to take Washington. I think Jaden Daniels comes and runs a lot. Fine, I'll throw him down. I think
Damn.
he's going to run a lot.
All right.
You know what? Fine. To be different, I'll take the Bucks.
Okay. Now you're going to make me erase everything. So, Sunday night football, Rams and the Lions. That's going to be a fun one. Matty Stafford goes back to Detroit again.
I think he's going to light him up. I think
I,
the
I,
Lions got him. The Lions got him in the playoffs. Matty
yep.
Stafford's coming back for vengeance.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I think the Rams win this one as well. And then I guess we only have one Monday night game. Oh, I guess because the Eagles play on Friday. Because I feel like we normally have two Monday night games to open the season. Um, Shocker, it's the Jets. I feel like they only ever play on Monday night. Jets at the 49ers. I would love to pick the Jets, but I think 49ers take care of this.
No, you know what? I'm going to take the Jets.
Okay.
Aaron
Brave.
Rodgers,
Bold and the
he's going to
brash.
come out now because the Jets like peak of Aaron Rodgers hoopla will just take off if he wins that week one game. The Niners, I'm telling you, man, Super Bowl hangover and all the holdouts, you can't ignore that.
All right. Well, that is our week one picks. Like just a quick recap, we both have Eagles beating the Ravens in the Super Bowl. But yeah, I think it's hey man, football's back. I'm excited. It's gonna be great. Hopefully the Eagles don't bury us again like they did last year. I think they can't possibly go through that again. But I've been proven wrong before. But high
Very
hopes
true.
for them for sure. I think they'll do well. So good luck to them in Brazil.
Cheers to that, baby.
Cheers. Go. Oh, it's blurry. Go Birds.
Go Birds, baby. Let's do it. Super Bowl run, or on Saturday, we're going to be very pissed and ready to fire Sirianni and Howie.
If they lose on Friday, I'm drinking Saturday morning for breakfast.
I'm literally drinking Saturday morning regardless. We're pulling the 4 a.m. back-to-back nighters. This is football, baby.
Well, cheers to that. All right. I'll catch you
All
later.
right.
Peace.
Peace.